Well, it's time for this series of reviews to go green. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and welcome to my review for The Incredible Hulk. This movie was released in 2008, it was directed by Louis Lederer, and it starred Edward Norton, Liv Tyler, William Hurt, Tim Roth, and Tim Blake Nelson. This movie was released the same year as Iron Man, and as a matter of fact, they were only released a month apart. And to say that Iron Man was successful is kind of like saying the Pacific Ocean is fairly deep. Due to Iron Man's massive critical and box office success, The Incredible Hulk had a lot to live up to. And did it measure up? Well, more or less. The story goes that after Dr. Bruce Banner was caught up in a dangerous lab experiment, he basically turns into this green, gigantic rage monster every time he gets angry. And not only does Dr. Banner have the world's largest case of anger issues, but he's also on the run from the federal government, specifically General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, played by William Hurt. This movie picks Dr. Banner up in Brazil, trying to find a cure for his gamma poisoning. But unfortunately, through a series of unfortunate events, he has to go back to America, to his ex-flame, played by Liv Tyler, and they go forth to find a cure, only for Dr. Banner to confront the evils that he knows, and the evils that he doesn't know. Just like how there was a massive casting change in the Iron Man series with Terrence Howard being replaced by Don Cheadle as Rhodey, there was a massive casting change for The Incredible Hulk. As I stated earlier, in this movie he's played by Edward Norton, and in future MCU movies he's played by Mark Ruffalo. This is Norton's only MCU appearance, mostly because he just didn't play well with others. Which I find to be really sad, because I thought Norton did a really good job here. But when I was watching the movie, I found myself asking, who's the better Hulk, Norton or Ruffalo? And the question may not be as simple as one might think. On one hand, I bought the fact that Banner was a really smart scientist much more in Norton than I did in Ruffalo. However, with Ruffalo, I enjoyed his performance because he was more relatable. For my money, I prefer the Ruffalo Hulk, but really, they're like that far apart. Both do a really good job. Now let's move on to the villain of the movie, Emil Blonsky, or the Abomination, played by Tim Roth. While I think Tim Roth is a very good actor, especially in a good chunk of Quentin Tarantino's movies, he could have been played by anybody in this movie. He does have a particularly badass moment when, during the whole college fight sequence, he confronts the Hulk. Like, he's about this size, the Hulk is that size, and he looks at him and he says, "Is that the best you got?" Hulk then super kicks him and in turn breaks every bone in Blonsky's body, but hey, I appreciated the guts. Now let's move on to the supporting players, starting with Dr. Betty Ross, played by Liv Tyler. While I think she's very nice to look at and she's a great actress, she was boring in this movie. Her default character traits in this movie were whispering all her dialogue and worrying. That's about it. With a couple of exceptions, all of her exchanges with other characters were just whispers. "This is our data. I took it before they carried it all away. Bruce, I don't understand why we don't just go in there and talk to him. Never speak to me as your daughter again." Speak up! What's with all the whispers? You were in Lord of the Rings, for crying out loud. What are you doing? What are you like? But I will tell you who is not average, though. William Hurt as General Ross. This guy was awesome. Everything he says and does is done with such intensity, it would make the Ultimate Warrior blush. Where was it bottled? Go around behind him! Where is he? Where are the 50 cows? Move your ass on! But in another example of wasted potential, Tim Blake Nelson plays the leader. Yes, one of the biggest villains that Hulk faces in the comics. I can only assume that the reason Tim Blake Nelson was cast as the leader was because they were planning another standalone Hulk movie. But considering that that standalone Hulk movie hasn't come out yet, it kind of feels like a big tease. But now let's talk about the fight sequences because they were awesome. There were basically two big action set pieces in this movie. The one at the college and the one in New York City. They're both basically the Hulk smashing things. And it's kind of glorious, actually. During the college sequence, the Hulk takes an engine block out of a Humvee. He throws it at another Humvee. It crashes into that Humvee and takes out two more Humvees. And then in New York, when the Hulk's battling the Abomination, he uses a police car as Nux to beat down the Abomination. I don't know, there's just something special about two big, green, veiny men smashing each other that's oddly very satisfying. But lastly, I'd like to talk a little bit about the overall story. I liked how the movie treated the fact that Dr. Banner had this gamma poisoning with a good amount of respect. They treat it like it's actually a disease. Banner has this heart monitor he wears on his wrist. He has these breathing techniques to make sure he stays calm. And when he does Hulk out, it feels really significant. That's one of the good things the MCU has done, and really one of the unsung ones, is that when Bruce Banner hulks out, it's done for a purpose, it's done for a reason. It's not like to open a pickle jar or whatever. He hulks out in the most dire of situations, and they did a really good job with that. But in the end, guys, the Incredible Hulk was not as good as Iron Man, but it's still an incredibly passable MCU movie. It definitely is better than the Ang Lee Hulk from 2003. But with that being said, the movie's just okay. But that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for next Wednesday when I will be reviewing Iron Man 2. I'm looking forward to reviewing that as well as the rest of the MCU movies that I have not talked about yet. But I pass the question off to you. Did you like The Incredible Hulk? Did you hate it? Or did you think it was just okay? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I'd love to hear your opinions on this. And if you liked this video, please be sure to leave a like and also subscribe so that you never miss one of my new videos. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, all of my links to all of my social media pages will be in the description below. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.